Hello everybody, I'm Mrs Hilton. I'm the Head of PE and Sports Science here at Butehaven, and I run and teach on the BTech Level 3 Extended Certificate in Sport and Exercise Science. An absolutely fantastic course that replaced our A-Level PE a couple of years ago for the better. The results we now get as a result of switching to the BTech have been extraordinary, and the journey that the students that have then taken thereafter from leaving us for sixth form tend to go into the sports industries. We've now got some of these students here in the pictures, over here as well. They are now at university studying sports therapy and rehabilitation, sports physiotherapy, sports teaching. They're all out there in the industry continuing their passion for sports. I'll talk a little bit about what we do with our inspirational visits later in the presentation. But first, let's start hearing a little bit more about what sport and exercise science actually is.
National in Sport and Exercise Science is a great pathway if you want to complete a degree in the sport and exercise sector, giving you the opportunity to progress to a range of university degrees. It's both coursework and exam-based and carries UCAS points. You will study a range of units such as physiology, psychology and biomechanics. You will take part and administer different types of fitness tests, including field and lab-based testing. You will also develop the transferable and higher order skills which are valued by higher education providers and employers. For example, studying the Applied Research Methods unit and completing a research project allows you to develop your research skills in a sports science subject area of your choice, as well as developing communication and interpersonal skills when working with subjects taking part in your research. If you want to carry on studying after Level 3, this is a great qualification to help you progress to further education within the fields of sport and exercise science, or use the underpinning scientific knowledge gained from applied study of the anatomy and physiology of the human body to allow progression onto more medically based degrees, such as sports therapy or physiotherapy.
Okay, so as this slide is telling you, it is the equivalent of one A-level, which means you can do it alongside other A-levels in school. And it's interesting to note that 95% of universities and colleges in the UK are accepting the BTECs. And what's really interesting is 30% of businesses are actually really preferring students that come with a mixture of academic and vocational qualifications. And it's great to know that 4 out of 5 BTEC students, they do go on to receive a first or a second class degree. And as you can see there, 90% of BTEC students after graduating will go into full-time employment. There was this stigma a few years ago, pre-2016, that BTEC wasn't as thorough as an A-level, and that was the case back then. But in 2016, Pearson, who's our examining body, they brought in the nature of external exams, which are rigorous. So I think really the difference between an A-level and a BTEC at the moment is purely the assessment methods. And we tend to find that sports students that come to us who excel really well on our BTECs are those that really do have a mixture of learning styles. In particular, they're very kinesthetic learners, very hands-on. They like to do things and see things themselves rather than just simply sitting, hearing and writing. It's a very practical, hands-on course. So in terms of what this course will provide you, it will give you the flexibility to progress into degrees or into apprenticeships, other areas that the career choices that you may wish to follow. It's going to give you the opportunity to really showcase any practical skills you've got through assessments, not on your practical performance, because we don't actually assess that one in sports science. We have the option to, but I'm afraid I choose biomechanics because the sports science students, they can get into Russell Group universities, so I kind of make them study the optional unit, which is a bit more challenging, but again, it does very well. The BTEC Extended Diploma in Sport is where you'd be awarded more for your practical ability. We're going to really make sure that you get the underpinning knowledge and skills that meet all the industry requirements. It's not just a case of do this. We're going to be showing you how to build your resilience, how to build good communication, how to problem solve, how to build up your resilience, and so on. Okay. And what's really important is that this sport and exercise science course will get you into Russell Group universities, the best universities in the country. The extended diploma at the moment isn't accepted by Russell Groups, but the sport and science is. So in terms of the assessment, how does it actually work? Well, what you'll do in Year 12 is you will sit 2 external written exams. One for me in sports psychology and the other one for Mr. Ray in functional anatomy. Now, it doesn't matter if you've done the BTech or a GCSE back in the day or anything like that. You don't need to have done that to be able to access this course. We had a student last year and she had never done it at GCSE or BTech level, and she managed to get a distinction overall. So it really does show that you don't need to have that underpinning knowledge prior to this course. Now, those 2 exams, we do them in Year 12 for a couple of reasons. The nature of BTech allows you to have 3 opportunities to get the highest mark possible. So far, I've only known a couple of students to take that 3rd opportunity. In fact, actually one student, and she didn't get the chance because the lockdown came. It is a fantastic opportunity to sit the exam and then have another go, and the school pays for that first resit to then see if you can up your marks. Now, if we do that in Year 12, it means that we have the flexibility to bring that resit into Year 13. If they absolutely smash the exam in Year 12, it's great because there's no exam in Year 13, meaning that they're just working on 2 internal units, which are all coursework based, leaving plenty of time to work towards your other A-levels and prepare for those exams, especially because if our students are proactive and dedicated enough, we can finish the Year 13 course around about February, March time, meaning that we can lend our teaching time to supporting you for other A-levels. Now, what this word resubmission means, I spoke about retakes for the exams. Resubmission means when you hand in an internal piece of coursework, if there's an element that needs to be improved, we hand it back to you and you just improve that one little element or 2, however much you need to improve. So, I've mentioned functional anatomy and I've mentioned psychology, both absolutely fascinating topics. I am a big lover of sports psychology and I absolutely love seeing the students get completely engrossed in the topics, very much because they can see themselves in the theories. They can see how their behaviour is being impacted. In Year 13, we will build up a big assignment for coaching for performance. I'll show you one in a second, a bit of an idea what they look like, looking at all the skills and behaviours and qualities, and looking at how a coach should go about with best practice, knowing about risk assessments and DBSs and so on. And then you create your own coaching resources, and then you go and actually carry out an hour of coaching, and then you evaluate it all. And then Mr. Ray, he will do lots on biomechanics, all your axes and levers and planes and so on. Really fascinating stuff, and the students are enjoying all 4 of those units. Okay. So if you look at functional anatomy in a little bit more depth, because you might really want to know what are the actual topics, you can see they're down here on the left. I don't need to really read them all out, I'll just keep chatting whilst you can read through them. And over on the right, the sport and exercise psychology topics. Now, what we tend to do is, where possible, is we can bring some of the theory into practical. I love doing a good psychology experiment without them necessarily realising. Kick that one off with the motivation. Look to see if they're a need to achieve or a need to avoid failure personality. It's fascinating. So, with each of these units, they will come out with either a pass, a merit, a distinction, not a distinction star. That is reserved for an overall grade at the end of the course. Now, a pass is the equivalent to an E grade, a merit is the equivalent to a C grade, and a distinction an A grade, and then a distinction star an A star. Okay? Obviously, all those points carry UCAS points, recognised by universities. We give the students their ALPS grade normally around October time, and that will give them an indicator of where they should be challenging themselves to, but quite often we'll just say keep challenging yourself to the very, very top. The beauty of doing a BTech is we can track as we go along. So for example, I said to you the 2 external exams take place in year 12. Now Mr. Ray's functional anatomy is this column and my sports psychology is this column. So you can see that a student can get 56 credits if they can get 2 distinctions. If they're going to get 56 credits, it's giving you an idea that they can maintain a standard. We're looking around about merit standards. But they have to get the actual awards, you have to cash in all 4 units. So this year, this is my coaching unit and that's Mr. Ray's biomechanic units. So with another 16 and 24 points, you could potentially get 96 credits, giving a distinction star, which is equivalent of an A star overall. We got 3 of those last year out of a cohort of 5. Which was absolutely brilliant, and we got 2 distinctions. That'll give you an idea where our grades kind of lie at Budehaven. So what's really nice for that is we did have a student who was thinking, should I retake my functional anatomy exam? And we worked out that she did get a pass and she would really have to get a distinction to be able to up into the distinction star category. She didn't think that was realistic. It was a unit she struggled with a little bit. And even if she'd got a merit, it would have made no difference. So we were able to personalise the option of retakes very much to her. And this is what's very different about A-levels. Nothing is left until the last minute. It's the opportunity to track as we go along and have those resets. So what platform do we use? Well, even prior to COVID, we've been using Google Classroom. It's an absolutely fantastic way to put everything in one place. We have the option now that if the students, as they are on the self-isolation, we move this platform straight into live lessons. So tomorrow I'll be able to log in with my year 13s and from Tuesday onwards with my year 12s, and we will be able to have direct lessons just like this, so they're not missing out on any important content. It's also a place where they have their homeworks put and also their final submissions and so on for their assignments. So a nice easy way that allows all students and teachers to work from anywhere. Okay, so big lover of Google Classroom. Now, I mentioned earlier about exposing the students to different universities and industries out there. We take advantage where we can. Now we do it with the extended diploma and sports students, so we all go together. See the top left, that's us going off to Cardiff, Cardiff Met University, going over the Severn Bridge. We have a lovely day when we go there. We also tend to go to Marjons as well. It's mainly because these are the universities that our students tend to go to at the end. And what's happening down in this picture is this lady Katie here, who's from Cardiff Met. She's telling the students all about the various courses they offer there at Cardiff Met. They get to try different courses throughout the day. So you've got all your sports science courses going on here with a student there being tested for his VO2 max. You're looking like at anatomy and physiology there, a performance analysis and so on. Absolutely brilliant stuff, and the students come away buzzing from it, mainly because it's made them realise what a university could be like. It's a day in the life of a student basically, and they then crack on with their personal statements, start applying, and then you suddenly start seeing their work ethic really, really going up. As I kind of mentioned with the practicals, we will have some practical theory through practical, but the nature of sport and exercise science is much more theoretical based. So when they are up to date with all their work, we'll throw in some fun stress relief practicals. I took my year 12 sports science students the other day for their first squash lesson. I regretted that after I got a squash racket all wrapped around my chin, but they love it, they're buzzing and they want some more. So we're sports students, we need to stay active to keep our minds going, so I promise you we will do lots of practicals. So in a comparison to the extended diploma, well, that one is the equivalent of 3 A-levels, all 27 lessons with us in the PE department. You're the same as an A-level, so you'll just get the one equivalent. The functional anatomy that you'll study is virtually the same as what they're studying, but theirs is called anatomy and physiology. You just have a little bit more that's in depth to learn. And they have 10 mandatory units and 4 optional. You just have the 4, which is 3 mandatory and 1 optional. They have 4 external exams, you have 2. Both of you will be studying and being assessed in coaching and sports. There isn't any biomechanics or sports psychology in the extended diploma. We touch on sports psychology within certain units such as sports leadership, but we don't do that one in its entirety. As I've just said, we'll take you both on inspirational visits and have guest speakers in when we can. And I've let you know you can do a mixture of subjects with sports science just to broaden that university choice for yourself. So I'd like you to hear from a couple of our Year 12 sports science students.
Okay, thank you for being with us today, girls. So Jess, what do you currently think of the sports science course?
I really enjoy the course as the classes are quite small and the teachers are also lovely and you get to form really good relationships with the teachers as a course.
Are there any particular aspects of the course that you're really enjoying?
I'm really enjoying the sports psychology part of the course due to being able to see that all the motivations and the people's behaviours that they have in the school.
Yeah, you've got many more topics to learn on that as well. And what do you think of the way that the course is assessed?
It's assessed really well in my opinion because you get to take all your exams at the end of year 12, then in year 13 you focus on coursework. So all the exams I'm taking in year 13 I can focus on them more as it's in coursework. And then you also get to retake them.
And they take the highest marks, so it's a bit of a win-win. Okay, thank you, Jess.
Hi, I'm also Jess and I'm studying sports science, psychology and sociology.
Okay, did you always know that you wanted to study sports science?
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to because I want a career in sports.
Okay, what kind of career are you thinking?
I'm thinking either sports psychologist or physiotherapist.
Brilliant, and both of those obviously at the moment you're getting a bit of an insight with all the theoretical behind it. And are you enjoying both of functionality and sports psychology at the moment?
Yeah, I'm enjoying everything.
Okay, and have you got any kind of idea which universities you'd like to consider?
I would quite like Bath maybe or Cardiff, so you can access Russell Group universities using this course, so get into the best ones, which is great.
That's brilliant. Okay, thank you very much, girls.
So thanks to both of those girls. You don't actually have to be called Jess to study sports science, it's just it was convenient that was both of them. So if you've got any more questions and you'd like to know anything more about how the course works or a bit more in-depth knowledge about any of the topics, please just come and talk to me. As I said, I teach the sport and exercise psychology and also the coaching for performance, or you can go and see Mr. Ray, who teaches the functional anatomy and the biomechanics in year 13. So thank you very much for listening, and if you've got any more questions, just drop me an email. Year 11, you know I'm a tutor for year 11, I'm always on the corridor, just come and find me. I'm very passionate about my subjects, both the extended diploma and this one, so I will be happy to talk and answer any more questions you may have. Okay, thank you, bye.